Hi, friends. It's Miss Jones. Welcome to ELA. I hope you enjoyed that beautiful poem by William Shakespeare, one of the best poets. Pretty cool. We get to now create our own poem. So, a couple materials you'll need, kiddos, is your writing journal or a piece of paper, a pencil and a pen, and then your final poem draft. This is your final draft that was in your packet. So, kiddos, we are going to write a poem about a special moment that we've had during the holidays. It could be about a tradition, it could be about the holiday that you celebrate, it could be um, a moment you hope to have, it could be a made up moment. Anything you want to write about that is winter related. So, I celebrate Christmas in my family. So I wrote about the night before Christmas because my cousins always come to visit and from California, and it's pretty special. And we always have it at my house. So I wrote my rough draft of my poem, kiddos. But the first thing I did was I came up with some sounds and some imagery that I wanted to maybe involve in my poem. So poems are usually about a certain moment that we might cherish. We talked about that a little bit with the hot cocoa and the winter night. And it had a lot of sounds and imagery that we had talked about. So I just wrote down a couple sounds and imagery that might help my reader feel like they are there with me the night before Christmas. That was my goal. So I wrote down for some sounds, I wrote a jingle. I wrote lots of peeps because I did "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," and they talk about in the original poem that there wasn't a peep. So I'm saying in my family there's lots of peeps. We're very loud. It's not very quiet very often. I also wrote "I Love Lucy." That is the show that my cousins and I watch every night on Christmas Eve. So I wrote that. For imagery, I wrote presents glistening. I like that word glistening. I wrote twinkly lights because we put twinkly lights on our Christmas tree. And then I wrote pretty tree because we always try really hard on our tree, and that's one of my mom's favorite parts of Christmas. So, kiddos, I want you to write some sound ideas and some imagery ideas before you do your rough draft. Another thing that might be helpful is you can create a list of events that you might want to talk about. So maybe it's a moment where a lot of things happen, but you can't talk about all of the events. Maybe write down all the events and then pick your favorite ones that you want to talk about. And you can always change your mind, kiddos. This is just the planning part. So I didn't include all of these ideas into my poem, and that's okay too. This is just to give you an idea, some inspiration of your poem. So this is my poem. "'Twas the night before Christmas, and everyone is about." So that is me saying that my family is everywhere. People are wrapping gifts, people are chatting, all sorts of things. Singing and giggling and clinks of sparkling drinks. My dad used to always buy my cousins and I sparkling apple cider, and it was one of our favorite things, and we felt so fancy. That was one of my favorite parts of Christmas Eve. The grand tree, so grand, we know what this means, kiddos. Remember, it means big, important. The grand tree twinkled in the corner, shining upon a mountain of gifts. We have lots of family coming over, so our tree is always overloaded with gifts. We are so lucky. Love filled the room. As yawns began to widen, so our yawns got bigger, and the house grew darker, meaning that lights were going off, people were going to sleep. The tree grew lonely. That is until a soft jingle grew closer. What do you think that jingle is if everyone's asleep? What is that jingle? Two friends shall meet again. So, what does this mean here, kiddos? Let's dissect these few stanzas. We know that a one line of a poem is called a stanza. So the tree is lonely because everyone is asleep. No one's hanging out by the tree and giggling anymore. We're all sleeping. And that is until a soft jingle grew closer. Santa and the tree are friends. So they will meet again. that is my poem, kiddos. So I'm going to look at my rough draft here and say, how can I change things? What do I want to add, get rid of, different things like that. So I'm going to say, instead of sparkling drinks, maybe I'll say sparkly drinks. I'll switch that. And the grand tree twinkled in the corner, shining upon a mountain of gifts. Maybe I'll change gifts to presents. As yawns began to widen, and the house grew darker. I'm going to say begin instead of began. Maybe that sounds a little bit better. Maybe I can come up with something that is better than filled. Love filled the room. Love engulfed the room. Engulfed means kind of like filled. I'm not sure how to spell it, so we'll have to look it up later, but that's okay. Engulfed. The tree grew lonely. That is until a soft jingle grew closer. Two friends shall meet again. Should I say two pals? Maybe two pals. Okay, kiddo. So I changed some word choice. You can change full structures of sentences. Maybe you're like, I don't want to start my poem like that. You can change that. And I did a little bit of editing when I was writing this myself. But here are some changes I would make now adding to my final draft. So, kiddos, when you are writing your poem, it is important to think about what the scene is. So you're setting the scene. Mine was the night before Christmas. Maybe I can talk about the fire roaring in the background. I'm going to add that. Maybe the fireplace is roaring in the background. It's a good idea. So you can get your rough draft all messy and dirty, kiddos, and then you can clean it up on your final draft. So then we're going to write our final draft here. And depending on how long your poem is, you're going to put the title up here. So I'm going to put "'Twas." "'Twas" is "it was." It was the night before. I think I wrote too big. Oh no, it's not going to fit. Before Christmas. Okay, hopefully yours looks better than Miss Jones. Try to write smaller up there if you have a longer title. Okay, and then I'm going to start writing my poem, and then down here I'm going to write my name by Miss Jones. And you can write it down here too, kiddos, if your poem is too long. So for our title, we have to make sure that we are capitalizing the important parts of our title. So "'twas," we don't have to capitalize the because that's a small word. "Night before Christmas," those are all very important. So we capitalize all those. When we signed our poem, we put "by" and then a little comma and then capital for your name, first name and last name. And you're going to write your poem in between your final draft, kiddos. I cannot wait to see what you come up with. I'm sure you guys are marvelous, marvelous poets. Good luck, friends.